Hey everybody, it's been a minute. We've got a video here for you today, and Darth is taken off script by a woman named Olivia, who has talked to him before, and he previously blocked. So let's get into it.
Hey, Tom Rabbit! I hope you got this for your recording. Hey, YouTube out there. Tom Rabbit likes to record these. Hey, Tom Rabbit!
Then the young woman's father and mother shall bring to the town elders at the gate proof that she was a virgin. Her father will say to the elders, I gave my daughter in marriage to this man, but he dislikes her. Now he has slandered her and said, I did not find your daughter to be a virgin, but here is the proof of my daughter's virginity. Then her parents shall display the cloth before the elders of the town, and the elders shall take the man and punish him. They shall fine him 100 shekels of silver and give them to the young woman's father, because the man has given an Israelite virgin a bad name. She shall continue to be his wife. He must not divorce her as long as he lives. If, however, the charge is true and no proof of the woman's virginity can be found, she shall be brought to the door of her father's house, and there the men of her town shall stone her to death. She has done an outrageous thing in Israel by being promiscuous while still in her father's house. You must purge the evil from among you.
Okay, go ahead. And
do you want me to ask my
question?
specific question, or do you want to address something first?
Yeah, but just be careful how you say it so that the TikTok AI isn't going to flag this stream, okay?
Okay. So my main question is, or I guess I'll start with the first question, is it seems here that the only proof of virginity that they'll accept is blood on a cloth, right?
Well, first of all, this statute was put in place.
Sounds like the first Dodge.
So that it would hardly ever have to be used, both as a deterrent to women being promiscuous before marriage, and those men who may act in an unbecoming way toward a woman that they married. It was meant as a deterrent for both parties, and so that would rarely, if ever, be used.
Okay, but it still says this, and don't you abide by like sola scriptura?
I don't think you're understanding that.
We already have another Dodge. Another question not being answered.
The Mosaic law, the 600 and plus laws, was a covenant between God and Israel.
Right.
Most Christians do not take the view that all of the civil statutes are binding and obligatory upon all humanity, but are the civil statutes that God ordained for the national Israel. Okay, now certain statutes in the Old Testament would be binding and obligatory upon those outside of the covenant of Israel, because they are going to clearly reflect God's general purposes in creation. Okay? So the fact of the matter is this is a statute meant to motivate people out of fear of getting punished for behaving wrongly, so that it would almost never or hardly ever have to be implemented. So let me ask you this question. Is the issue of sexually transmitted diseases a monumental problem in our culture today?
This is typical of Darth. He doesn't like being on the defensive, so he's going to try and reassert control over the conversation and start asking her questions. See how she does.
In the world.
Yeah, I think it's a problem.
Okay, was it a vastly greater problem in biblical times compared to today, where we have some treatments?
Yeah, obviously it was worse in biblical times.
Okay, so you understand that sexually transmitted disease
apply that 100% of women.
There is a little bit of a jump here, so I'll just explain. I'll fill in the holes. This kind of had to be pieced together by me and another person who helped me out, so shout out to Jane. But basically what Darth is starting to forward as an apologetic is that, like the title said, Israeli women had hymens that were built differently back then. He's appealing to a sort of uniformity of hymens objection.
Women used to bleed and now we don't.
What I'm asking you is that
I can't make a claim. I don't know.
What this is referring to is the bleeding has to do with the breaking of the hymen,
right,
and bleeding occurring.
Right.
Okay. Now, are you suggesting that the stats that you just gave now, you said 50%, right?
Less than 50%.
Do those stats?
Yeah.
Do those stats in terms of the gynecological hymen construction and it bleeding? Would that apply to all women at all times?
Well, what we know is that the breaking of the hymen doesn't always happen.
That's not answering my question. The stats that you gave, are they universally applicable to women at all times and all places?
I have no idea.
Okay. Could it be that hymens being intact were almost always the case for Israeli women, but as successive generations, thousands of years later, there was a degenerative breakdown in the stability of the hymen and blood after the consummation of the marriage?
Well, women have different amounts of like hymenal tissue. I'm trying to get there. Listen, women have different amounts of hymenal tissue. Some women have very little, and some women have none to be found.
But you're talking about today.
Well, I'm talking about
listen to me. Is that condition the product of degeneration?
What degeneration of what?
Degeneration means that. Do you know what genetic entropy is?
Probably not the way you're using it. Can you explain it?
Okay. So when God created the world in the beginning, He created a pristine genome. He declared everything that was good, and we know from experience, and we can read between the lines that over time, genetic defects and anomalies can creep in through what is called genetic entropy or infectious diseases.
Okay.
Now, could it be that the rate of bleeding from hymens in the stat that you gave me is the result of the degenerative conditions over time, over many generations?
I don't think I have good reason to believe that. I think it's not impossible, but I don't think it's reasonable to believe.
No. Well, there is a.
Is this really the best that Darth can come up with? That sort of like there's been this evolution of hymens within less than a couple thousand years. Really?
Well, what reasonable based upon what standard? The fact of the matter is this: what you're doing is you're projecting from stats. And what pool of women did you get that from? Was it from 1,000 women? Was it American women? Was it Israeli women? And would that apply to women that lived 3,000? Would this apply to women that lived 3,200 years ago?
I think most likely it would.
You see that? Based upon what?
Based upon the consistency we have in other body parts.
Right.
I don't know why you're getting mad at me.
No.
She's doing a good job of keeping her cool.
We have polite questions.
Because you're ignoring what I'm saying. The fact of the matter is this.
Correctly.
All I have to show you is the possibility. And the only way that you can circumvent the possibility that I'm presenting is to say that it cannot be. That's not true. That the studies.
Well, if Olivia was making a necessary claim, that's true. Darth would only have to present the possibility. But Olivia is obviously not making a necessary claim. That's pretty obvious. She's calling it reasonable. Now, it's interesting because Darth is forwarding an idea that he himself does not have the positive belief. He does not have the positive belief that Israeli women's hymens were built different back then. This is almost something that maybe we could call a worldview body double, Darth? Sound familiar?
Who are these women? Were these Americans? Were these Brits? Were these French people? Were these Australians? These women in the study.
Can I answer?
Yeah, what was the cultural group?
Yeah, there's all different types of studies. So this is more of a compilation of the average
Oh,
that many studies find.
Oh, really? Where did you get this? Where did you get this from?
The National Institute of Health.
Okay. Do you have a link to that?
Yeah, it's in the chat.
So can't look at the chat right now.
She's prepared, right, for his, obfuscation. What Darth wanted to do there was, if she didn't have the link right there, boom, Darth would have used that opportunity to hand wave her. Oh, you're just talking out your butt, blah, blah, blah. Listen to his reaction and how he stutters because he was so unprepared for that. He was really hoping that would work for him.
It's in the chat.
So can't look at the chat right now. So the fact that you mean multiple studies of what? Women from all different cultures?
He's trying to ask more questions about the studies, hoping and praying she doesn't have an answer for one of these, and then she can just be hand waved. Listen to the stuttering.
Of what? Women from all different cultures?
Yeah, the studies are international, so some are smaller, some are larger.
Okay.
The type of women varies, I guess.
Okay, so because women today, some women don't bleed, that means that the same percentage of Israeli women would bleed. How does that follow?
Can you repeat that?
How does that follow?
How does what follow? The same women as today. I lost you there.
Yeah. That the fact that certain women won't bleed upon consummating their marriage, right? How does it follow that same percentage would follow for Israeli women 3,500 years ago?
Because it's more reasonable to believe Occam's razor, right? It's more reasonable to believe that we had similar anatomy.
No. Nobody's disputing that there's a similar anatomy. But saying that it's just reasonable that they have a similar anatomy doesn't support your case.
Well, neither does you just saying it's possible.
Both
are obviously possible. I don't think
but
anything makes either of them impossible.
So good. All you're simply doing is you're saying that because some women don't bleed, that would ipso facto be at the same for Israeli women, and that's not necessarily the case.
I'm just asking, since most women don't bleed.
It's a non sequitur.
It's directly related.
Look. Even if I were to agree with you, it would be besides the point, because the overwhelming majority of men in the Israeli society, since they know that it was their duty to love, they would not want to see the woman to be executed.
I'm not worried about people acting on this. That's not my question.
I'm trying to explain to you. I don't agree with you applying this so-called biological stat, and I want you to send me the link in a DM.
Okay, I can do that.
Because I want to check out your question. Hold on. I'm talking. I want to check out your source to see if you're bullshitting. Okay, because I want to see what all of these multiple studies are. Okay, so the bottom line is even if I were to grant you the legitimacy of these studies, which I haven't, but even if I were to grant to it, it does not necessarily apply to the gynecological conditions of a hymen, okay, where the reduction of women bleeding upon consummation, it doesn't follow from that would be true back then.
I can't believe this is I guess I can believe this is the best that Darth can come up with. Does anybody else remember this? You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of one of his flood apologetics. You guys remember that one? Where he says that people make this objection is like, oh, if God flooded the whole earth, then God unalived a bunch of these babies. And one of Darth's apologetics was, well, God could have closed the wombs for a window of like 20, 30 years. Just a just so story. Pathetic.
It doesn't logically and necessarily follow.
I'm not making that claim.
Yeah. Okay. No,
it would follow. It just wouldn't be like 100%. I'm not making the claim it's 100% true, but it logically follows. Yeah.
No, it doesn't logically follow.
It is logical to believe that
it doesn't 100% follow.
Yeah, it's logical. They had No, it's logical to say they had kidneys. It's logical to say that they had lungs. But to sit there and say that their hymen anatomy, the gynecological conditions where women whose hymen is broken and a certain percentage don't believe that we're going to have the exact same percentages back of women 3,500 years ago is not something that you can say is reasonable. There's no way that you
I never claimed it would be
reasonable.
the exact same percentage. My first question, I just stated that it would be more reasonable to believe that 100% of women did not bleed. Or sorry, that 100% of women bled. But I think you missed my first question,
Here's
Darth.
the problem. Do you disagree with the statute?
Disagree with the statute?
Yeah. Do you disagree with God giving certain guidelines of civil life to the nation of Israel? Are you challenging God's authority and wisdom?
No, not at all.
Implement.
I think you missed my question.
Then what is your point of bringing this up?
Yeah, my first question was, is blood on the cloth, at least at this time, maybe not now, but at this time, is blood on the cloth the only way that virginity could be determined then?
Not that I know of.
Okay, it just seems that...
What is this even relevant to?
He's getting so mad because he doesn't really have a good answer. He doesn't have a good answer. Listen to how annoyed he's getting, right? Let me back up.
Then?
Not that I know of.
Okay, it just seems that...
What is this even relevant to?
I'm just omniscience.
Olivia, like what's the...
You're bringing up Deuteronomy 22 because there's something that you don't agree with it on.
I don't agree that it's... Here, I'll make the statement clear.
What don't you agree with?
I don't agree that it's reasonable to use blood on the cloth as the only determiner of whether a woman is a virgin and if she shall be stoned to death.
Okay, good. So you disagree with God's plan?
Only if.
Do you disagree with God's plan?
I disagree if there's a contingency here. I disagree if the claim in this verse is that 100% of women bled at the time.
It doesn't say that.
But it says that if there's no blood, then she wasn't a virgin.
You know what? Okay. And that may have been the case for Israeli women.
Why? What would motivate me to believe that?
Good question.
That seems unreasonable for me to believe.
It seems unreasonable to me that you want to apply a stat of women today that would be true in a minor configuration of the hymen 3,500 years ago. How is that reasonable to say?
Yeah, I have no problem with the claim that maybe more women bled.
The
problem is if they don't bleed, they get stoned to death.
Right, and was that going to be rarely implemented?
I actually don't care about the implementation. It's the sentiment that I'm concerned about.
Of course you care.
Consistency.
Then if you don't care about the implementation of it, then it's a moot point.
Well, not really, because there could have been actually zero implementations at all, but the prescription is either going to be right or wrong, right? Obviously doesn't seem right.
No, because my point isn't about
You're
it being
contradicting yourself. You know what?
Darth.
This is what I don't like about you. Okay, you're constantly dodging and evading. The bottom line is this: you disagree.
You're missing my question.
Okay, and you're interrupting me.
Darth, can I mention something?
In a second. Okay, what you're doing, Olivia, is you're challenging the wisdom of God to lay down a specific rule at a specific time because of some rationale based upon modern studies. You are not in a position to call into question the wisdom of any of God's statutes that he gave to the nation of Israel.
Well, Jews would definitely disagree with that.
Are you in a position? Okay, when you say you are questioning the wisdom and the correctness of God's statute for the nation of Israel. Is that correct?
I asked the question
if you
this verse implies something.
Listen to me. I'm about to put you in the James Bond ejection seat. Because you like to dodge. Okay.
You're dodging my question, though.
I am not dodging your question.
You are. You haven't answered it.
You know what? Now you're lying. I have been.
Okay, so you can't answer?
I have. Okay. Now, guess what? You've now earned a.
You're going to kick me because you can't answer my actual question?
I'm gonna mute you. You're now muted because you're rude and you're obnoxious, and I'm trying to make a point. You are now lying about me. You're outright lying. You said I haven't been forthright answering your question.
You
I
haven't.
have been dealing. Okay, goodbye. You've earned a
Okay,
block list.
if you can't answer,
Bye. Yeah.
fine.
No. Okay. See now you're lying again. Now you're lying again. Oh, you are a vile and disgusting person. Okay.
Darth, before
Such a vile and disgusting person that he brought up. God.
you block her.
Let me finish my little rant. Let me finish my rant here. Okay. She just earned a block list, not because she was steadfastly debating and disagreeing, but she decided to go into full-blown deceit mode and lying and saying that I was dodging her and that I was not forthrightly trying to address all of her points, which I was. By the way, this is not the first rodeo that I've had with Olivia. Okay, I've dealt with her on many occasions. When she starts lying to the audience and to me, saying that I was not being forthright addressing her points, I wasn't agreeing with her. Not agreeing with her does not mean I'm not addressing her points. All right, and I tried to warn her several times, stop lying. Okay, but this is classic Olivia. But Olivia wanted to triple down on lying and slandering me. So welcome to my block list, Olivia. Go ahead, Paraduper.
Well, I was just going to mention that.
Okay, could it be that Hymens being intact were almost always the case for Israeli women, but as successive generations, thousands of years later, there was a degenerative breakdown in the stability of the hymen and blood after the consummation of the marriage?
Hey, Tom Rabbit!